Good morning. Welcome to my corner. I know it looks really boring. Maybe on your end, the white corner and my white shirt looks like maybe I'm in an institution somewhere. But I'm not. This is my favorite meditation corner. This is where I come in the morning before I meet with you in my office. This is where I come and sit and contemplate. And so I just thought that we would just be here together this morning. And I am excited, as per usual, because we're going to be healing negative emotion. I feel that a lot of the spiritual teachers don't talk so much about the emotion. You know, we talk a lot about the mind, and there's this idea that first there is the thought and then there is the emotion. So if you heal the thought, then you tend to heal the emotions. I don't believe that that's totally accurate, because you can just wake up in a bad mood. Before you were a thinking entity, you were a feeling entity. And so sometimes the emotion will give rise to negative thinking, and the negative thinking then creates this loop where you have more and more negative emotion. I wrote about that in the ebook if you want to learn more about that. And so we have all of this, negative emotion, and then the real problem isn't the emotion, but it's how we react from the negative emotion. I call them feel bad emotions, not really negative emotions, but how do we react? So our actions are dictated by our thoughts and our feelings, especially our feelings, right? So we think that, I'm going to stay calm and I'm not going to yell. And then the next thing you know, you've been triggered, you're angry and you're yelling. And so with the action, then we create in our environment. So it's this bigger loop. What happens with the emotion, if you want to imagine ripples, right, or a glass, I like this better. Your consciousness is like a glass of water. If I drop a pebble into the glass of water, the water is going to spill out. As you meditate, as you pray, as you do your spiritual practices, as you come into agreement and alignment with the universe, that glass actually becomes a bucket, and then it becomes a lake. And if you were to drop that same pebble into the lake, into the lake, it's not going to bother you. It might just have a little ripple, but then they're gone. And so what am I saying? I'm saying with practice, our consciousness expands, and the things that bother us from the past and even in the present, the things that we're worried about tend to bother us less. I take my inspiration where I can get it. So I was reading from an older Simple Grace, which is a Christian magazine. And this woman had an issue. Everybody writes in with their issues. And they were talking about the same thing, about with the disturbance of emotion, like lots of ripples, it creates distortion in how we see reality. And I thought how profound that is, right? Haven't you ever done something out of anger only to regret it later? At the time, you felt justified, but your sight was distorted. You really didn't see the situation clearly. And so what they're suggesting is to return to the clarity that comes with peace. You must allow the ripples of what's happening, right? What's happening in your mind to flow through your inner self so that they may be released. This is meditation. So when you are feeling negative emotion, this is where we're going to talk about the wisdom of pain. This is such good stuff. This is like life-changing stuff. Life-changing. Yay. Hello. I know that now that if my computer goes black that you can still see me, and I'll keep talking. Anyway, so the wisdom of our pain. Negative emotion, feel bad emotions, they hurt in the body. Heartbreak hurts. It hurts our stomachs, when we're feeling angry, or when we're feeling guilty, when we're feeling sad. There is physical pain in the body, and it is normal for you to want to move away from the pain. So either we go into denial or we start to suppress it, And we just want to move away from it. And oftentimes my spiritual people are the worst at this because they already know that the answer is forgiveness, right? The answer is I need to let go. But between there and here, where we are in the present moment, there are steps that we need to go through. As you practice, you go through the steps much more quickly. But in the meantime, it's what am I feeling? Am I feeling anger? Am I feeling sadness? Am I feeling hurt? What are the negative, the feel bad emotions? And you find them in the body, and then that is your meditation. This is where you allow the wisdom of the pain to come up. Now, here's the other thing. All pain is temporary. All emotions eventually will even out if you are able to sit with them. When I first learned this principle, my oldest daughter was about 3 years old, and I was just so frustrated. It's hard being a mom. You know, I had a 3-year-old, I had the 1-year-old, and I would feel so angry. You know, like I'd say black, she'd say white. It's not terrible twos, it's terrible threes. Their heads start spinning around backwards when they turn 3. So I would feel so angry. I would lay down, go, mommy needs a timeout. And I would lay down on the floor and put my hands on my solar plexus because that's where I felt the hurt. And I would breathe. I would breathe into that space. Now, here's the magic of this, right? Because it's not just you breathing and being by yourself. When you're calm, when you're, and you're going to move through the emotion, and I promise it's going to disappear, dissipate. Just like in our reading, the ripples are going to just kind of smooth out. As you're sitting with the intention of peace, the spirit rises up to meet you. So this is where we turn to Joel Goldsmith and to our teaching. God is not something out here, okay? God is here. And when you're quiet, where you are is holy ground. There is no separation between you and the divine. Every breath you are, every cell of your body, everything is God. And this force, if you want to use the G word, I like the G word, but you don't have to use it. The divine, your source, loves and adores you. And it is intelligent, and it is here for you. You have angels. I believe in angels. You have angels, and you have all of these invisible resources cheering you on and at your fingertips. But if you have so much negative emotion, so much feel bad emotion, you have all of this distortion in your mind, you can't feel them. I used to be in a lot of emotional pain. And there's always like little turning points. Haven't you noticed that in life? One of the turning points was when I knew that. And I said, I know I can't feel you, but I know you're with me. And things really began to shift from there. Instead of, sometimes we want God to prove itself to us. Prove to me that you exist. The fact that you're here proves that God exists. But, you know, sometimes like, I need you to prove to me that you exist and that you love me. And the reality is that God is always here, ever present, part of your being, loves and adores you, even if you can't feel it. Even when your kids are angry at you, they know that you love them, right? They know that you love them. It's the same with our source. So isn't this good stuff? Everybody take a deep breath. Sigh it out. Doesn't that feel good? What can you do in your life knowing that you have this secret superpower, that you have all of these resources, that you are loved, that you are adored, that you have a promise written on your heart that will be fulfilled in this lifetime? What can you do? All right, we're going to move into our meditation. My coffee's really good today. And then we'll get on with our day. Okay, Feet flat on the floor, or if you're in a nice comfy chair, you can cross your legs, eyes closed, chin tilted slightly down so that the back of your neck is nice and long. And let's take 3 Ha breaths together. Inhale and exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And in our mind's eye, just imagine that you are in this beautiful lake. It's warm and it's a beautiful day. And in your mind's eye, imagine that there are ripples. And you lift your hands up. And you send energy to the lake. And the lake just begins to calm. Imagine that you're doing it. And the lake is calm and glassy. And as the lake calms, you calm. You feel a deep peace. Breathing into your beautiful body. Allowing the peace of that lake to be your peace. Good. Allow the peace of the lake to be your peace. Knowing that right here, right now, this is holy ground. Where you are, God is, and there is peace. This is a holy temple where there are no things that can harm you, that can make you feel frightened. This is a safe space where the Spirit rises up to meet you. And you breathe into that peace. Good. And I'm hearing that some of us are afraid to let go. We let the people in our lives that have caused us harm, that have caused us injury, we just let them go. We let them walk their path. God is no respecter of persons, and so God is everywhere present at all times. And we let them go so that we can be at peace. There is no wisdom in holding on. And we give thanks. We give thanks for this time together. We give thanks for the peace. We give thanks for the breath. We give thanks knowing that there is a love greater than any discord, any problem that we may be having. Any neighbor, any relative, anyone who wants to disturb our peace, we just let them go. We let them go and we just let God take care of them because we are walking in peace. We have things to do. We have promises that need to be kept. And we walk in joy. Everybody take a nice deep inhale. Allowing that peace to be your peace. Everybody take a nice deep inhale. Coming all the way back to the room, wiggle fingers and toes and give yourself a hug. Give yourself another hug. Give yourself a pat on the back. good, right? So we're going to this is what came up in the meditation, that some of us are afraid to let the people in our lives who have caused us the most harm, to let them go. It's like letting them off the hook. And what I'm suggesting is find your peace first. Remember, we talked about the distortion, that with a lot of negative emotion, even if it's totally justified, when we're having that negative emotion, it can distort our seeing. So get clear. I tell this a lot to my clients who have relationship issues. Let's get you clear before you make a determination on what you're going to do about this relationship. And so that's what I'm suggesting. Come back into your peace, settle into the divine, let it rise up and meet you. What can you do and be and have when you are in that state of grace? Yes? Yes! We're going to have a great day. I can feel it. I can feel it. I will see you here tomorrow at 6 a.m. And if you're in Redondo Beach, meet me at Alamy, because I'll be teaching meditation tonight at 6:30 p.m. Bye.